is our intro music, so that's the first thing to get around. You're welcome to bob your head and get the move. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, much better. Jeez. All right, tough crowd today, obviously.
He'll get there.
Yeah. Well, he's your mate.
Yeah.
All right. And who are you? Fitzy?
Fitzy.
We've got Fitzy, we've got Burso, and we have a new guy known as Nick. Welcome, Nick.
Do I get to use the soundboard at all?
Oh, you can, man.
Cool.
I'm not going to tell you what they do, but so feel free to, if you're going to make a joke, press one of the buttons and see what that gets you. Yeah, not the red one, that's the intro music. That's the only one I'll give you.
I got a bob to that one.
Yeah. That's the only one you get.
Okay.
The rest of them you'll have to press it and see what happens. I actually look forward to that.
Yeah.
Should move them closer. Like, yeah. Press the sound effect whenever you feel like it, man. Go do one now.
Lovely.
Beautifully done. Nice one. Righto. So we've got Nick here and we're going to talk running. So if you're not into cardio, feel free to leave. But most of my mates. But so we've got Nick here and we're going to have a yarn about, he's doing the Surfcoast one. Did I get it right?
Close. Surfcoast.
Oh, what is it now?
Century.
Surfcoast Century. Okay, I kept calling it the Coastal 100 and then whatever. This is how much interest I have in running. It's like Fitzy took me for a run the other day, and obviously I just went on an electric one wheel thing, and it was like 14 Ks or whatever. My cars were burning.
Wait, what
after
did you
that.
go on?
What was that?
What did you go on?
I was on my one wheel. Have you seen a one wheel before?
No.
No, we'll have to talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll introduce you to that later.
Yeah,
God.
yeah. It's much easier than running, but still, like after 14K, cars were burning. I don't know how Fitzy was feeling because he had a stitch, but it took it out of me.
Mm.
Right. Do you want to start with how did you get into running?
I got into...
Sorry, how old are you?
33. I'm 33.
33.
Yep.
Right. And you got into running how long ago?
Oh, I think I might have been 29.
Yeah, right.
Never run ever. So I certainly don't have the... there's no video, but I don't have the body for running, that's for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I got into running...
for podcast as well.
Thanks. I got into running...
You take that either way.
during the COVID lockdown because I was big into going to the gym, doing sort of like CrossFit style workouts, and that all came to an end.
Are you vegan?
No, I'm not vegan.
No, okay. It's usually
Someone
goes hand
is
in hand.
at the table.
Yeah.
It's me.
So yeah, I started running in circles, albeit I had access to
in a 5K radius?
No, I had access to an athletics track, so I would just run circles of the track.
Just a 400?
Yep. Which
I can't stand laps.
No, neither could I. But I've got I don't know which, if it's ADD or autism or which one I've got.
Yeah, got the tears?
Yeah, a sprinkle of the tears.
Yeah.
So I would just, run laps.
Yep.
And that got me into running. So, and I guess like all people who start running as like a new skill, they improve vastly very quickly before plateauing. And I think that's where I am now, the plateau of just accepting that I'm slow and I'm not going to get any faster.
So when you first started running, the first time you sort of went down to the track, did you have an idea of how far you wanted to run or why you wanted to run there?
I'd always just do 5. I'd just do 5K. And that started off as sort of like a 30-minute venture. And then it sort of was getting to, quickly went to 25. And then I think my best 5K was, a touch over 20 minutes. I never broke the eluding 20-minute 5K.
Okay. All right. So you've sort of got yourself into your 5K stints. And like, were you doing this daily or were you doing it a couple of times a week?
No, I'd run every day.
Every day?
I'd run 7 days a week. And for the first week or so, just 5s. If I was feeling adventurous, I might have done 6 or 7, but never really pushed out.
So was your first run 5K? Or did you just go down and just start running and then went?
No, I'd always run to distance goals. I think it was probably 5K would be my first run.
So you weren't you're not like a couch to 5K kind of guy. You were already at a certain level.
Yeah, I already had a good fitness base, and like I said, doing CrossFit. Like there was lots of running involved in my workout, so I'll remember that one.
Damn it! I was going to say, he looked at that too. He was like, good, if I need that, that's it.
So I used to do a lot of running in my workout. So go and do 10 deadlifts and then run 800 or whatever the case may be. 1K run by then a bike or whatever. I was always running, but never for a long distance. So
we've got Fitzy the ultra runner. What are we going to go with Nick? Nick the wannabe runner?
No, that's not very nice. I don't like that.
No, but after the
Nick's
Surf
a runner.
Coast.
He's definitely a runner.
No, after the
And
Surf Coast, he can be.
He's already an ultra runner.
Is he already an ultra?
Yeah, he is an ultra runner now.
This might come out beforehand.
This will come up soonish, but yeah.
Well, we can put it out Thursday.
Well,
and then you can be publicly called out, and then we'll do whatever. We're coming to see you, by the way, when you're doing the run.
Oh, great.
Oh, did you not point these out to him?
no.
I bought portable mics as well. So ideally they get here this week so that we can find you like whatever time it is that you're running around at a hydration station. Like, hey, what do you got for us?
I'll have nothing.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I'd run with you, but like even after you've done 75K, I'm still not keeping up with you guys.
You could bring your one-wheeler.
That's true. Are you allowed to have one wheels on the?
It's pretty much like
It's a public thing,
it's a
isn't it?
public
Yeah.
course, so no one can really kick you off. But
Yeah. I'm trying to get a crew together. I've got 3 so far. So we might have like special like shirts and stuff made up. We'll see how we go. No pressure.
Okay, not feeling it.
All right, so you were running around a track during COVID because there was really not much else that you could do at the time. Did you have a goal of like you said before you were trying to get under that 20-minute? Was that something that you worked out pretty quickly that's what you wanted to do? You wanted to get faster?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I was running on track, speed was always the goal. But while I was running around the track, I'd sort of done some 5s and then I stretched out to some 10s. And then, I maybe did a couple of bigger ones like 15s. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a half marathon on this track. And
half marathon around the track?
Yep. So maths geniuses can work out how many laps it was. But yeah, I did a half marathon around a track, just running laps. And at this stage, I was running with no music, just running laps.
It's 52 and a half.
52 and a half laps. There you go.
That sucks.
A track. So, and that was my first long distance run that I'd done. I did a half marathon around an athletics track. The next day, I did a 10K. Must have been slow. I can't remember how fast it was. And then I did another half marathon the following day.
You were really bored during lockdown, weren't you?
Yeah, and like Burso said, the tism's out of control.
Yeah, good.
Mad hyperfocus. If you can just run 52 laps, I'm not even angry with that.
No, I mean, I remember seeing people during lockdown putting stuff up on their social media about, doing marathons and things in their apartments and all sorts of stuff like that. But I mean, I never actually did it. I was like, I might do one around my house, but never.
You got into like Strava and stuff, didn't you? Like, and you've got what is it, Swift on the bike?
Yeah, I've got Zwift on the. I've got a stationary bike, and I did a fair bit of.
Is there a running one like that?
Yeah, I've got it hooked up to a treadmill, so I can run in the Zwift world as well.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Do they have running?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I thought you were just running on like bike tracks, and they were just like all the bikes are flying past you as you're running.
The bikes do fly past you. You're running on the road at some stages, and then there is tracks and things. So I sort of did a little bit of that.
Yeah, nice. Do you get into Strava at all?
Yeah, I'm on Strava. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you like, what is it, King of the Course or something?
Crownies.
Crownies?
Crownies are harder and harder to get now.
Yeah.
You've got like guys like, I won't actually say his name, but we've got a mate that's just gone and run the Sydney Marathon. And
oh, okay. I thought you weren't going to give him the time of day because you were like, he's my competitor and he's getting no airtime out of me.
Certainly not a competitor. He's a mate that has crownies all over Geelong.
Yeah, I remember there was the Yuyangs, and there was you and somebody else, and you were talking about like there was different sections they had around the Yuyangs that they were running, and they had obviously different crownies and stuff, and then. I was going to go on my one wheel and do it, and then Fitzy got real grumpy about it. I was like, "Oh, it's a real thing. You guys get real focused on it."
Well, yeah, it's a big thing in the Strava world. Like people cheating segments. Like you look at some segments, and it's just there's no way. Like it would have been done in a car, but Strava recognises it as like the local.
Can you lodge complaints and stuff? Like how serious they get?
There's got to be a way.
Oh, Fitzy's all over.
Yeah, put his face.
I've never lodged a complaint, but you can lodge complaints because I mean I'm never going to go and take the crownies of these things anyway. But people can lodge that.
That's funny.
I think now you can actually like sell yourself to go and do crownies for other people.
Oh,
so I think you log into their account or whatever it is, and then you go run the segment, get the crown, and it goes to someone else, or you do a 20K or whatever it is and run.
What's more controversial, surrogate mothers or surrogate crownies?
It's pretty wrong, isn't it?
I legitimately didn't realise how much of a deal this Strava thing was until I was like, I'm going to just do it on my one wheel. And he cracked it. Absolutely cracked it. And I was like, it's a real thing.
Not cool.
And I was like, if Fitzy's grumpy about it, then there's going to be some other people that are going to throw bricks through my window if I do it.
I don't get too caught up in those ones because I'm never going to be the fastest, but I do get caught up in the local legends, the segments.
That's the pro. Just ignores the whole savvy crack. Love it.
Was I not supposed to?
No. I was impressed because usually people go, "What are you doing?"
I was actually like, "This bastard is interrupting me."
It's
That's what he does.
Yeah, we've had it with other ones where they're like talking about. Where I had a bloke who used to be a negotiator on. He's like talking. It's probably not great timing. He's talking about some stuff going badly, and I was like, "Shh." That moment brought to you by Savvy. Use imposter code for 17% off. Anyway.
So
instead
of the crownies, you concentrate on the segments on Strava.
This is why we need a YouTube channel.
Did you say 17% off?
Yeah.
How did that number come up?
Look, to be fair, I've got no idea, mate. Absolutely zero idea. I'd like to say it was like based off something cool, but maybe going forwards I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll invent a reason why it was 17% off, but I don't know. The dude just said, Mark Curry, he's a good dude.
17.
Yeah. I mean, whatevs. I'll go with it. I'm sure there's actually a legitimate reason why, but I don't know what it is. It'll be a business thing.
Okay.
Anyway, back to whatever it was you were talking about.
I can't remember now.
That was like local heroes or something, wasn't it?
Local legends.
Oh, local legends.
So doing that's where you do the course more times in 90-day period than anybody else.
Yeah. So I think I've got all the local legends around my house pretty well wrapped up.
Good.
And I get really shitty when they get taken.
Yep.
So what is it? You just got to do it more often.
Yes, but if someone is also on the same amount of times that you've gone on a particular segment and they're faster than you, they're the local legend.
Yep.
So it's consistency and then if you're both consistent in
Yep.
speed. Oh, right. Okay.
And
So do you guys have like online? Have you seen that movie Beef or whatever it is? That show on Netflix, Beef? There's like two people. There's like somebody goes to reverse out, someone drives past, they just get on the horn, and then it's like now they just hate each other with a passion and they're like trying to ruin each other's lives and stuff. Is there any sort of online beef like that going on with the Strava gang? Or do you reckon it's just not
I don't think so. I think it's a bit more supportive than that, the Strava segments. I mean, you sort of get annoyed when someone takes your crown, but at the same time you're like, right, I'm going to get that person.
Yeah.
Unless it's way out of the realm of possibility of being able to go that quick.
I just like the idea of like Strava people waking up in the morning and just having like stuff written on their mirror like must beat Leafy Leak 459. Like I hate that bloke.
I think it's more you get the email when someone takes one off you, don't you?
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you get an email and it's like this little notification. You've just lost your crown.
Oh, does it say that?
Yep.
That's genius from them.
Yep.
That's pretty smart because that'd get me jacked up.
I've gone to so much effort to just your local running route when you're just doing a normal Arvo run. I've changed mine because I've figured out I can get more segments to be the local legend.
I love it. So Strava's actually helping you to keep running.
Sure, yeah. Again, it might be my tism. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah. It sounds like in politics they do they keep changing the lines where they go through different parts. So it's like the sitting government will go, and all. Oh, that was a terrible open. It's everywhere. Oh, good slurp though. Like they change all the barriers so that's like
for sure.
They if it's a super stronghold for one or the other party, they'll then like write it so it goes through. So they still have the same amount of voters in each area, but they were like, oh, we'll chuck a bit more red in, or we'll chuck a bit more blue in, depending on what team you're on. It's pretty sneaky. I like what you're doing with your local legends. Yeah. You're just like, I'm going to run around the outside of Super Fit Man, and then I'm going to go past like Leafy Legs, I'm going to 245, and then I'll go up past King Fitzy 458, and then there's three different dudes, and I'll own this whole area.
That's right.
It was like a game of Risk.
We can also make your own segments in Strava.
That's genius. Yep. You should get private property, jump on there, and just run a lap of people's private property, and then you're just like, that's mine.
Can I borrow your one wheeler so I can get that?
Yeah. Don't let Fitzy see you. He'll slash your tyres.
Right, wait. We've gone. You've got
local legends. Again. I was going to say, well, I mean, he doesn't even know what this podcast is about. So basically, the podcast, and look, to be fair, it's not really about it anymore. We've been all over the place. The idea is it's about imposter syndrome.
Right.
So people doing stuff that they don't feel ready for, or they've done it, but they're just like, so I'm going to get found out at some point. People are going to be like, I'm not good enough to be here, or whatever else it is. So, for example, you taking on this 100K run. having, what's the most you've done, 50?
50. Yep.
So having done 50 before, like to me, I'd be like, well, that's miles ahead of me. Like for me to do a 100K run would just be a farce at the moment. Like me doing a 5K with Fitzy is a bit of a farce, to be fair. But he usually attaches dogs to me and we get there in the end. But like you doing 100K, how's your confidence level? Pretty confident you'll finish it? It
feels like a farce.
Yeah.
It feels like a farce.
Like it's just, the number to me is just so ridiculous. And like, I mean, Fitzy does them now. So, you know, Fitzy's going to run as a support person basically, / whatever else he's going to be along the way. And realistically, he's trying to make excuses already. So we'll see. Yeah. Maybe Fitzy's feeling a bit of imposter syndrome now. We don't know. But yeah, like how are you feeling going into it? And when you actually wrote your name down saying, yes, I'm doing this, did anything change or did you feel worse afterwards going, oh, God, it's real now?
I think I'm feeling worse now, I reckon, because it's so close. It's on Saturday.
Because it's Saturday,
and we're at Monday afternoon, I guess now. I can't fathom the number. I think. Are
you excited or are you just nervous now?
I think it's a healthy mixture of both.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get into it. I signed up last year and had an immense failure. But probably preparation wasn't where it was this year. But yeah, in terms of the number, I can't fathom 100 kilometres and actually doing it on your legs in a single day. I keep thinking about the number 60 and like 70 and thinking, yeah, I've done 70 Ks, but geez, I've still got 30 or 40 to go. It's such a long way.
I can't imagine doing 45 Ks and just going, I'm not even halfway.
Yeah.
Doing 42 and going, that's a marathon and I'm not halfway.
I'm not even at the second checkpoint yet.
Yeah, that's brutal. How'd you feel with the 50 though?
So the 50 I did, I've done 2 50s and I did one recently up at the Yangs and that was awful.
Just on your own?
Yep.
Okay, so it's not like a sanctioned event or anything like that?
Oh, no, it was the Yangs Trail Festival, whatever it was called. So it was a sanctioned event, like a race, but I certainly wasn't racing.
Yep.
And it was awful. It was so hard. The course out there was just brutal.
Up and down hills and stuff?
Yeah, I'd only run the sort of a looped course. I'd run it once with Fitzy and I was like, it wasn't too bad.
Is it the Great Circle track?
No.
Like 4 laps or something? No?
No. It all starts in the car park up the top.
Okay.
Straight up the hill.
Up to the peak and stuff?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty crap.
Yeah, so in the course, I think
that's a terrible start.
Did the peak 3 times.
Anyone that's been up to the Yangs knows that that's quite hilly.
Yeah. So I think, I did the peak 3 times during the day. And I'll tell you what, I'd
so shit. Like it's the same peak.
Yeah.
And they're just going to get back up, mate.
Yep.
It's getting army vibes about it. We're just like, what colour was the rock on the top of the hill? Nah, that's wrong. Go back and have another look. How many stairs were there on the left? Oh, God damn it.
It was a really, really hard day. And I'd actually signed up to Surfcoast pre-doing that run because I treated it as a bit of a training run for Surfcoast.
How far in front of it is it?
It was in mid-July, I think, late July.
Okay, so what's that, like 3 months in between?
Yeah, I think a couple of months, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I treated it as a bit of a training run, just get some time on the feet. But mark my words, had I have not already been signed up for Surfcoast when I finished that 50, there'd no way I'd be doing Surfcoast because the way I felt after that 50K, I'll tell you what, I was cursing Fitzy's name. It was shocking. It was really, really bad.
Yeah. So that was last year or this year's one?
No, that was this year in July this year.
Right. So you've only just done that a while ago. Did you get any injuries and stuff after that? Like how long recovery, etc. After that?
I think I was back running on the Tuesday. So it was a Sunday.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Attention.
Right. So you did it. So it was on the weekend.
It was on a Sunday. Yep.
It was on a Sunday.
Yep.
You had Monday off, and then you ran again on Tuesday.
I did. Yes.
Right.
Not well.
I mean, it just sounds like a mental health issue to me.
I told you.
It just sounds like self-harm. I don't know. I don't get it. Like to me, like I'd play footy and then I'd jump in an ice bath or I might go for a walk in the beach or whatever else it is. I certainly wouldn't be going back and just going for a run. And I'm not doing anywhere near 50 Ks on a footy field. It's like
I did do an ice bath on the Monday, but so I think I heard someone say somewhere once that motion is the lotion, and I just went with that.
Oh, well, I mean, someone's going to throw a tagline at you. You may as well do it.
Sounds sexy, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like when in Rome.
Yep.
Well, how did you get started on the trails? Because you were saying before when you were running around the track, you'd sort of gone up to a half marathon.
So I guess going back to that, I'd running on the track, and then once the lockdowns and everything opened back up, running went away. I stopped. I stopped running.
Back to CrossFit?
So when was that?
Did you?
Pardon me. Not back to, but back to lifting weights and just training in a gym.
Was that 2022? 2023? I can't remember.
21 maybe?
I can't
No,
remember.
it wouldn't have been open at 21. Don't go there. I'll get emotional.
Oh, no, we're going to 22.
22. So just stopped completely.
Yeah, stopped running. And then it was it last year? Start of last year. I got in a really good physical space, and I sort of had nothing coming up. I generally like to train towards something, no matter how silly it is.
No, I think that's good. There's a lot of people that just train for this. Like me, I just go to the gym just because I hate myself. But if you if you've got something to actually train for, you'll find that everything else has a purpose now. So I think it's good if you've got the 100K or whatever it is. You're like, well, every time I'm running, it's for that.
Yep.
And then after the 100K is done, you'll probably be like,
What were some of the goals before that? What before you started doing your running, or before you started thinking about trail stuff? What were some of the goals that you trained for?
Generally, just general health. I used to be a lot heavier than I am now, so I was always training to lose weight and get fit, and just I was just watching the kilos come off and my body change, and then I sort of got to a place where that had stopped because I couldn't lose any more, and I was happy where I was. And I was like, I want to try something different, and I just stumbled across the advertisement for the Surfcoast Trail Marathon. And I was like, I've run a 21K before. I've done around the track. I can do a half marathon. It'd be good. I got a mate to do it with me who had never run before.
So that's a different event, is it? So Surfcoast Trail Marathon.
Yeah, that's I think it starts in Torquay and finishes up in Fairhaven. But I just signed up for the half marathon, which was Point Addis to Fairhaven.
Okay, so is that your first trail event?
That's the first trail run.
And that's in 2023.
Yep, that was last year.
So it's only last year.
Yep.
So you've done a half marathon last year.
Yep.
On the trail, and talk about that one. Tell me how that went.
So I didn't really know what trail running was. To me,
in the name, did you not pick up any cues?
Yeah, to me, it was running on gravel. It was like, okay, there's road running and there's trail running, which is running along gravel paths.
Okay.
So in the lead up to doing the Surfcoast.
So you thought like a council run footpath through a park, that's going to be lovely.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it would just be those paths that you walk, along the, I knew where the trail was, and I was like, oh, it's just the gravel paths along the cliffs in Torquay. Easy.
And was it like that?
Oh, nah. And
was some of it like that at least?
Did you go in going, I can hold a certain K pace per kilometre?
I thought I was going to do sub 2 hours.
Right.
Because the half marathons I'd run previously on a paved track, I think my best was maybe an hour 45.
Yep.
Which I know in the scheme of things isn't quick.
No, it's good. It's pretty good.
But
we're 23 minutes in. How tall and heavy are you, just for people that are listening?
at the moment, I'm always 180 centimetres. At the moment, I'm sitting at around.
I thought you were going to be in the morning I'm 180, but by the end of the day I'm 178.2.
bit smaller. Sitting around 97 kilos.
I probably should have led with that. 97 kegs is a fucking big unit for running.
And I'm not built for running. I've got a big trunk.
Wow. Okay.
Not that sort of trunk.
You're welcome, ladies.
I was half waiting for the
Look him
wah,
up,
wah,
Nick.
wah.
Yeah. No, that's your button.
I'm not built like a runner at all, and wasn't when I was doing those.
Massive trunk. Shervo, though, he runs.
So, and talk about big trunks.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Sorry, my head's in the gutter again.
Right. So you've gone there, and you say that you're not built like a runner. After running that event, did you change your mindset about what a runner looks like?
I did, yeah, because, and I don't know the correct terminology, and I apologise in advance. There was a small person, little person.
I know this runner. Yep.
Yep. So I was.
She's actually a Paralympian.
Well, there you go. That makes me feel even
in swimming.
Right. So
She's very quick on the trails though.
Oh, we'll get her on.
anyway, so
Should she come on?
I don't know.
I'm going to start beef with her and Nick.
no beef. All respect. Like so, as I said, I was doing the half marathon, which started at Point Addis. So I'm standing on the beach at Point Addis with my friend, waiting for the start at 11 o'clock, I think it was, and here down the stairs comes like a little person, and I was like, oh my God, they're doing the full marathon. And I was just like, what? And I don't know, the trail running, it's like lots of older women, and it's so different to road running. It seems everyone gets on board. There's no...
They also celebrate with beers.
Yeah,
which is interesting to see.
It's way better than normal running.
Yeah.
You'll see people at aid stations with beers that they've packed.
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
So yeah, for that run, like I said, I thought I could do it in under 2 hours. And the start of that half marathon is along, it's called Red Rocks Beach, just past Point Addis, and sand, ankle, shin deep sand. And as soon as I took off, I'd started at like a 4.5 minute pace along the sand. And
moving.
I think it's a kilometre stretch, come 300 metres, I blew up. I was like, I can't do this at all. And like slowed to a walk, everyone just, and old ladies.
Slowed to a walk, I love it, 300 metres in.
Old ladies going past me, old blokes, grey hair, skin falling off their elbows. And I was like, what have I gotten myself into?
That's another visual moment. I was just looking at my hair then. I'm like, easy, champ.
But that's not like nice grey hair. So, yeah, and I like I said, I hadn't run a trail before starting that race. My training for that was I used to run laps around. There's a oval near my house that has a gravel track around it. And I thought, oh, yeah.
Trail running.
That's your trail.
Yeah. I bought trail shoes for it and everything. I was like, yeah, because, I need...
Oh, what brand do you got?
At the time, I was just wearing Nike shoes.
Oh, okay. But now you're Hoka?
No.
I like to pretend I was cool then.
And I was
He's gone even more niche than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you running?
Ultras. Have you got time?
Yeah. I got nothing but time. That's literally what podcasts are. Just talking shit for hours.
How would you explain an ultra? They're they're zero drop shoes. So the heel is the same height off the ground than the toe, which is very uncommon for running shoes. Usually they have a quite a substantial drop.
Why is that? Is there any reason behind the...
I'm looking at Fitzy. I have no idea.
Fitzy or a pro?
It's more their mantra, like what they believe is the best sort of for your legs and stuff. So it's supposed to, with a zero drop, it's supposed to work a different part of the calf muscle.
So for endurance or something, it doesn't fatigue it, or?
To be honest, I'm not fully.
We're going to be lying.
It's one of those things.
It's going to be
I'm not fully on board with it. I don't think it has any benefits.
Yeah, beautiful.
That was crisp.
That was well done. Like right in the middle of just an awkward moment where we're just trying to make up a story about running shoes we don't know about.
I've run in ultras before, and like they're good shoes, but I don't find that I get any benefits from them.
Okay.
Or disadvantages either though. So ultra out there, no problem with your shoes.
So
send me some.
So how far into your walking on the beach did you go, I'm going to start running again?
Oh, it was only a little walk.
A little walk 300 metres into a 21K run.
But then for anyone familiar with the course, you get off Red Rocks Beach, which is a K long, and start climbing up a cliff, which is...
Did you start walking again?
Oh, yeah. So I had no idea what I was in for, is what I'm trying to get at. And it was really, really hard. But like you said before, it's different than the aid stations. There was music and people drinking beers and eating potato chips. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It's fun, and there's so many different people here. And I found my rhythm and got into it, and I certainly didn't finish in under 2 hours. I think it was closer to 3. But after that, I was like, this is great. Like, I really, really enjoyed the day. The vibe was great. I loved it. And the tism or whatever it is in me went, what's next? What can I do next?
Yeah.
And with the influence of dear Mr. Fitzgerald over here, he somehow convinced me to sign up to 100K.
Wow, I didn't realise I was actually part of that.
Oh, yeah. You were a big, I wouldn't say motivator, but yeah.
I did not know that. Did not know that I had any influence.
He's a he's a mentor that is unaware that he's mentoring people. Like,
but I don't like this because he gets a big head. You know,
he really doesn't. He's pathetic like that. Like you've run, man. If you've competed where you've run across 3 countries in Europe, I would have been like, I'd just wear my medals the whole time. I got my like Div 7 Geelong basketball medal that I was wearing out when I was on the campaign selection when I was doing politics and stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatevs.
Yeah,
I'm a basketball champ. It's Div 7 social night Wednesday. It's no big deal.
Social mix basketball. Doesn't matter. I'm a winner.
Yeah, I was like, no, get around me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, so you did the half marathon. You've come across the finish and you've decided this is your people.
Sure. Yep. It was my event. I really enjoyed it. Because finished. Here's a beer. And I was like, oh, this is great. And trail running's a little bit like it's just like an eating competition. You just run. You go to an aid station. You have some potato chips. You run to the next one. You have a hash brown. You run to the next one. Have a couple of snakes and a few jelly beans. It's really good fun.
Was it a little bit CrossFit-y? Like it's like the good parts of CrossFit being that there's like a community, people get around you, there's a lot of motivation. Like there's a bit of competitiveness, but a lot of the times people just want you to be better than yourself. But like they also do events where they go and they eat together and they do whatever else it is.
Yeah.
And like having mad tunes on and stuff gets everyone motivated. Like running without, it's like in selection courses in the army, it's like they used to have things where you weren't allowed to train with music and stuff because you're not going to have it on the course.
Yep.
So people are just running on their own, no music or whatever. I was like, could not think of anything less appealing. Whereas if you're doing it and you can hear an aid station up there because there's tunes and stuff, like that'd be solid. That'd be great being able to go and do that.
And the people who run these races or events, they're just the loveliest. And what you said about they just want you to be better than you is exactly right. Like I'm sure there are some elite people up the front that are really pushing, but it took a while for me, like I said before, just wanting to get faster to switch my mentality, just be like, no, I just want to just run. Like I don't care about how long it takes me. I just want to get the distance done.
Yeah. Is there any other like running? Like when you're running, do you like find someone when you're going along the track that's like similar pace and you just meet someone and you just like sort of keep with each other, or is it more of an individual thing?
So that one I was running with a friend, which was good because we just had a chat.
Had that friend done anything like that before either?
He had run. He's English. He had run the London Marathon quite some time ago, like maybe 2012.
Oh, I love this because in my head, he's exactly like you. He's got in his head, he knows he's going to go. He's going to sit on a certain pace, and he's going to finish in a certain time. I'm not lying. At the end, he was crying because he was in so much pain.
He was happy you started walking after the first 300
like
meters.
It was, and he, along with me, had no idea what we got into. Like I said, I just thought it was going to be a gravel path. And, there's sections where you're on all fours, like climbing up the side of a cliff and, you're running downhill, downstairs. It's wild.
Yeah. The because you're running in this one, don't you start on the beach, or is that a secret? We're not supposed to talk about that.
No.
Yeah.
For Surfcoast Century, yeah.
It starts on the beach.
Yeah. All right, so you're aware.
Because he did it last year. Yep. Tried last year.
Oh.
Yeah, so post the Surf Coast Trail Marathon in June, like I said, Fitzy convinced me to sign up to an ultra marathon, which I think back then I was like, 100K is like, get that done. If I can do half a marathon.
Yeah, it's just twice.
Who can't?
And a bit.
Yeah. And a bit more.
4 times.
I think you blokes are pretty.
A bit more.
You've got a lot of tism, you blokes, I reckon.
Try living in my head. Signed up for the Surfcoast Century last year, 2023. And whether it was knowingly or not, I did not treat it with the training it deserved.
So how long after the Surfcoast Trail Marathon was Surfcoast Century?
Surfcoast Century was actually the 16th of September last year, so a year to the
ago
date.
Today.
Yep. Was the Surfcoast Century. So, and the Surfcoast Trail Marathon was June.
Okay. So June, what sort of training had you done between the two? Because now you've done your trail half marathon. You know what trail running's about. You're a pro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What sort of training did you do between those two runs to get you ready for the 100K?
Straight back onto the roads. Didn't do
Genius.
Yeah. Straight back.
I got on a treadmill.
Because it worked last time.
Straight back to that gravel track around the oval.
Yep.
No, I think I did a couple of trail. I think my longest run I did in that gap was I did a 30K from like Torquay. I didn't out and back. I started in Torquay, ran along the same path for 15K and then turned around and came back. But leading into Surfcoast, obviously nutrition plays a big part in your running those sort of distances. Didn't practice. No, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd maybe throw in a gel that I bought at the supermarket and a Cliff Bar or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like I had no idea about nutrition while you're running.
Plan.
Yeah, and I thought, how hard can it be? I'll just eat at the aid station. There's food there, sorted.
Yeah, I heard they got Thai and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, didn't go according to plan at all. Obviously, come the day of the Surfcoast Century last year.
All right, so you rocked up at the start line and you were pretty confident where you last year that you had it.
I don't think I was confident, but I was pretty sure I could just meathead my way through it.
I love that Fitzy keeps laughing about stuff. Like I've got no idea. It sounds all right to me. Fitzy's like,
well, I'm kind of laughing
rookies.
because you just talked about nothing like that. But I'm hearing you talk about Goggins a lot, and there's a lot of these Goggins fans out there that talk about meatheading their way through, or what is it? I'm hard, bro.
Stay hard.
Stay hard.
You gonna run with your shirt off?
Oh yeah,
yeah, excellent. If I don't hear a stay hard at one of those stations, I'm gonna be real disappointed.
You won't. Well, you might actually at Surfcoast because it does have an element that's a little bit different to some of the other trail runs out there, which is the teams event.
Am I going to upset people? I'm like, yeah, stay hard, man. They're going to hate me at the trail run. You're like, he doesn't know.
Just me.
What are we doing? What happened there?
I think.
Sorry, we got under Goggins and that's
that
least
really
favourite subject.
Yeah, just really ruined it there. Oh.
So you thought you were going to just sort of meathead your way through the thing.
Yep. So I'd done no nutrition training, nothing. I'd just been running, and again, just around my estate at home, just like no hills, no nothing, just running. Maybe 6-7K a day, and I'd do a couple of long runs on the weekend.
What was your understanding of the Surfcoast Century?
I didn't have any understanding at all. Yep. I didn't do any research. I had a look at the map.
There's so much pain in that. I didn't do any.
Because I
just
thought
the disappointment in yourself.
I thought I would have learnt from the Surfcoast Trail Marathon about thinking that it was just going to be a run. Because I thought, stupid me, I've done the Surfcoast Trail Marathon. I know what trail running is all about. It's just a little bit longer.
We're talking a huge step up here. We're talking 80K.
I get that, but like when I talk to you about it, and you're just like, I just run 5K a day. It's no big deal. Then I just run 100K on the weekend, and then you're sitting there.
See
Nick.
What he does blows my mind. How he can just run 5K a day and then front up come race day, and like his Surfcoast Trail Marathon this year, after maybe doing a couple of, it was out of this world.
But that's what I mean. Like Fitzy's like, I just run 5K a day. It's not a big deal. So like if I do like 3 runs in a week, I'm ready. I don't get it. Fitzy runs 5K. Why can't I do it?
So I think maybe yours and mine brain work very similar.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Surely I can do it. Like I'd do a powerlifting competition this weekend. I'm like, well, I've been to the gym.
That's right.
Well, how hard could it be? Yeah.
We can all do it. I could do a trail. What is it? A powerlifting thing this weekend. Yeah. I'm sure I'll come dead last.
Well, should we?
I might not even be able to
competition after this
weight off the ground.
Let's do it Friday night before it's Surfcoast.
Yes. Classic.
Where was I?
You were talking about how you failed at the 23 Surfcoast one.
Well, yeah. How did you?
I don't think I was.
Talk about it. Tell us about that run.
So yeah, like I said, certainly didn't prepare. Started on the day. Started at 5 a.m. Anglesea Beach. And for those who don't know, the course for the Surfcoast Century is pretty much Anglesea to Torquay back to Anglesea out to Moggs Creek-ish, and then Moggs Creek through Airies back to Anglesea.
Moggs Creek's brutal.
Yeah.
We one-wheeled there. I had to carry the thing up because the one wheel wouldn't work. That's how steep the thing is.
So the first section's along the beach all the way, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say it's probably, 80-70% sand?
Pretty flat though?
Yeah, flat. As trail running goes, it's a pretty cruisy run. Lots of sort of scrambling over rock pools and going through some water, so it wasn't too bad. So I started at 5 a.m, got to Torquay feeling great. My partner met me there, and she had a sort of a bag that I'd packed with just absolutely no knowledge at all. Had a
gel from the supermarket.
What Winners gels, I think they are, the ones from the supermarket that are just disgusting. Chucked a couple of snakes in my pack. And
It's disgusting.
I think I grabbed a Vegemite sandwich from the aid station, changed my shoes because you sort of finish off that leg of the run and get quite wet, changed my shoes and off I went onto the second leg, which is Torquay back to Anglesea, but a slightly different route. So you sort of run up the hills of, up the cliffs of Torquay, and then when you get to Point Addis, you sort of shoot into the Anglehook State Park, which is the...
Do you have to nude up when you get to Point Addis?
You can.
When you go past the nude beach, or?
They actually don't run on Addis itself, do you? No.
It's disappointing. I was like, I'll jump in for the nude section. That's my expertise.
I don't think anyone actually does nude up there.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good.
That'll be another challenge we do, Fitzy. Nude beach.
You can
naked ultra running.
Yeah.
And then, the run darts into the Anglehook State Park, which is the section sort of opposite the chocolatieri in Anglesea, goes up behind the Umarail Scout Camp. And when I got probably just past Bells Beach, which would have been maybe 30, 35K in, I thought, I'm out of my depth here. Like, I'm really out of my depth.
So at that stage, though, that's
30 in.
That's 30 in. That's the furthest you'd run.
Yeah, so the longest I had ever run prior to this was 35 kilometres. I'd never even done a marathon.
Right.
Yep.
So no road marathon, no nothing.
Nothing,
no. And you've gone and signed up for 100K on the trail.
Yep.
So you got 35K in and thought this isn't for you.
I didn't think it wasn't for me. I thought you've really overshot your ability here. Like, this is like
But what was it making you feel that though? Like, was it you were in pain, or you were just like, I'm pretty gassed here, or like was it just mentally you're like, that's too far?
I think mental certainly played a part. At the time, I wasn't running with music either. All my training, I didn't run with music, and I hadn't had music in the day, which on the day I realised that most people had headphones in.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So I was just, listening to my inner demons. But the big thing was I was running out of energy, and I could feel the energy coming out of my body because I now know you've obviously got to keep eating and drinking. But 35 Ks in, I couldn't eat. I don't want to eat. I'm running.
Yeah.
But I could feel my body just being like,
I don't think you're supposed to sit down, knife and fork meal, but
no, but something would be good.
Yeah.
So I think at that stage I'd had maybe one gel, a couple of bites of Vegemite sandwich, and that was about it.
Yep.
So coming up to Point Addis, I didn't feel great. There was an aid station there. I think I grabbed a handful of lollies and tried to chew down a couple of potato chips. And then when I really got into the Anglehook State Park, where it gets pretty windy, pretty hilly and pretty technical, I think upstairs my brain just took over and thought, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the sort of probably K 40 to 50 back into Anglesea was just hell. It was awful. I had no energy. I couldn't get any food down, could barely get water down. My stomach had just betrayed me.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the way this course works is the start point is also the halfway point, which did that play a part in what happened next?
I think so, yeah, because I got back.
You just see your car and you're just like, no.
Well, I'd also – so my partner, God bless her, was, I guess, crewing me for the day as much as we knew what we were doing. And she had met me in Anglesea. And
so she's like pro at this as well?
Oh, yeah. Yep. She knows everything about trail running. So she meets me in Anglesea when I finally got into Anglesea, near the skate park there.
Were you near where you thought you were going to be as far as time-wise? Did you have anything in place?
I had no time. Obviously, you get beer glasses if you get certain times. So I wanted a beer glass, and I think one of the cutoffs is 16 hours maybe. So I was thinking 16 hours would be great. Yeah, and I think I got back into Anglesea. I think it was 7.5 hours. So
yeah, you're on time.
Looking back, I was like, I was making good time. But got into Anglesea aid station. Partner was there, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not okay. I haven't eaten. I can't eat." She's like, "You need to try and eat something." I couldn't put anything in. Could barely put water in. And then she said, "Do you think it's probably time you maybe stop?" And that's all I needed at that point. My brain was just at the point where I just needed someone to say,
She'd given you an out.
yeah, she'd given me an out. And
call her out. She ruined your run.
Ash,
Chicken.
you fucked me on. But then obviously you find, once I heard that, I found 101 reasons not to go on.
Oh.
One of which, we had a young, I think Henry would have been, 18 months at the time. And, she was sort of juggling that. And I was like, I can't get her to come out and meet me at Moggs Creek in 3 hours' time after she drives back to her house. Oh, no, it's going to be better for all parties if I just pull the
KFC's open now. It closes at 9. It's
can't miss it.
I mean, these shoes are still in pretty good shape. I can probably keep them next time. I'll save myself $300. I'll beat the traffic if I leave now because everyone else is doing the rest of it.
Had your brain talked you into any injuries or anything at the time?
No, and that's looking back. What is really hard to swallow is that my body was in tip top. Like my feet were good, no blisters, no pain, no rubbing. Not an injury.
So essentially, it was just harder than you thought it was going to be, and
I saw an out and I took it.
Let your brain stop you from doing it. And it might sound to anyone that hasn't done these sorts of runs, it might sound like, that's a bit soft.
Yeah, it sounds soft as.
I can totally understand it. I know how much more.
I would have lied and said I had a toenail coming off or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just Ash gave me an out, and as soon as I heard that, you should probably stop.
I love the fact that it's still Ash's fault.
It's not, ultimately, I made the decision.
Yeah.
Has Ash been banned from coming this year?
Not verbally, because she'd smother me in my sleep, but I've when we get onto the next, like,
allegedly, that's not real. That's a joke.
When we get into the 50K, like I think I've discovered that having someone like that a part of your day can make it really, really difficult. But anyway,
what do you mean by that?
I didn't want to let her down or keep her waiting or anything like that, and because it's a logistical nightmare. What I asked her to do last year for Surfcoast is I packed this one bag and essentially, you follow me on the tracking app. I need you to meet me in Torquay, and then I don't know when I'm going to be back in Anglesea, but
you wait around.
Can you meet me in Anglesea? And then, obviously I stopped there, but I then expected her to go home and then drive back out to Moggs Creek, but I couldn't tell her what time I'd be there, and then to go home after that. And then if I finished, I want you to be at the finish line, which is a big ask for, we don't have any help with our child, a mum with an 18-month-old kid. So that all played into my decision. But, I saw an opportunity and I quit.
It's funny. We have stuff with selection. You'll have there's two different ways they generally go with it. They'll either be like into you and say, you're not good enough, you're this and that. They'll have a crack at you the whole time. But then that fires up some people. But those people that get fired up with the negative reinforcement also tend to do really bad when someone's like being positive. Like, hey, mate, you're actually looking really good. 50K in, you've done really well so far. Maybe just like sit this one out. You've got no injuries. It's been great. Train a little bit harder and then next year you'll be right. And they're like, yeah, that's me done. See you later.
That's exactly what it was.
Because if she'd rocked up and gone, you are a pussy and we are not going to be be if you don't finish this.
I would have walked off and kept going.
Yeah. 100%. But the problem is she obviously loves and cares for you and could see that you're in pain and was like, you don't need to do this to prove it to me and rah, which is like some people, it's like, yeah, no, you're right, babe, let's go.
And she knew, I knew.
You're not going to get that from me, Fitzy, just so you're aware.
I hadn't prepared properly for that run. I hadn't done like I said, I was running on the road. I'd done 130K.
You say that, but you weren't injured. Like there was no injury, there was no anything else. No. Mentally you hadn't prepared for it, obviously.
What really hurt was, so I pulled the pin, I gave my bib in, and
not just mentally. I'm sort of like listening to what you're saying, going, well, okay, you haven't really.
He hasn't done the nutrition prep and stuff.
No, not even that. I think like I don't know what stuff you've done prior to that, but obviously this is probably the biggest sporting ordeal you've ever taken on. That's been longer than anything you've ever done probably in your life, and you've realised, shit, this is hard. And on this particular occasion, you've let that challenge beat you or be too much for you, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just to caveat that, like, I've run 10K and absolutely hated my life.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to don't want to jump in here pretending that I'm better than you. It's like I love giving you shit, but 50K is still a massive achievement.
And that's the thing that sometimes you've got to like afterwards. I know that I'm guessing that after that, how did you feel when you you pack up your shoes and you pack up your bag and you sort of walk off and realise that that's it, it's over. How did you feel then?
Yeah, like how far into it did you go, I should have kept going?
It took me so I live in Mount Dunedin. It took me from getting to Anglesey, doing a quick Macca's drive-by to get a McChicken, to sitting.
Literally ate some food and went,
Macca's sponsorship here.
I got on my couch at home and I think I had a bit of fruit.
That's all you needed was a McChicken to perk you back up.
Had some watermelon and I sat on the couch, and this is probably only Anglesey to Mount Dunedin, maybe half an hour. So maybe say 45 minutes after I'd pulled the pin, I sat on the couch and said, what have I done? Like, I'm good to go again.
Yeah.
Like, my feet were good. My legs were good. What have I done? Like, I was so regretful and disappointed.
Could Ash tell that?
Probably. But yeah, and that's what I figured out. I just wasn't eating. I hadn't had any food. My body was running on empty.
It's funny how much food, like, I mean, forget the actual physical part of it, but like not having enough sugars in your brain then leads you to not be as cognitively as good as you were.
Yep.
And it's funny where like not having the actual food and stuff for you to think and be mentally strong, like your body a lot of the time will just do what your brain tells it to. But if you don't have the nutrition to keep your brain forcing your body to do the rest of it, like you wanting to meathead your way through, you meatheaded your way through 50K. Like that's like you've done pretty well, to be honest. But, like had you have, had a bunch of fruit or whatever else it was, and then you were like, what am I doing? Yep. I'm doing it. I'm going to keep going. So it's funny how like maybe if you'd just eaten a bit of fruit or whatever, whether you would have changed your mind at the time, just gone, like I've just done a quick check. I'm actually fine. My feet are good. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm already halfway. Let's do it.
Just do another 50.
Yeah, but it
sounds so easy now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and upon reflection, and it took a long time for me. It probably took a good few months to put away the failure and go, no, mate, you've never run a marathon, so you've ticked that box.
Yep.
And you've just run an ultra marathon by the letter of the law. You've run 50K.
Yep.
For someone who'd only run 30Ks prior, it's a pretty good effort.
It is.
It's an outstanding effort, really.
But I love that it hurts though. Like, so I get motivated by failing stuff. Like if I just pass something, I'm like, I'm pretty good. Don't even worry about it again. Like if you lose a grand final, like that's the next season, I'm like, I don't care if I won by 30 points. It's like, smashing these dudes into, you got to be 40 points. You got to be whatever. Like with footy, you lose a grand final there. Like you don't know if you're going to get another one. I'm like, that motivates me. Like not, oh, mate, you got to the grand final. You guys did really well. And this and that. Nah, not interested. Yeah. I'm like, so it's funny. People get motivated differently, but that's, at no point should that take away from the fact, like it's a bit different here because you've literally done better than you've ever done before or anything else. And you've run, 30K more than you've done before that? At that stage? Yeah. And it was like, that's nuts to me. 50Ks is nuts.
You've also got yourself a gauge though, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, okay, so you've gone from disappointment for yourself from what you wanted to achieve that day. When did you start running again?
It was a long time. I had a big break.
You're going to say Tuesday.
Weeks.
I would probably put it to months, I reckon.
Months?
Really? So it was September. And I don't think it was anything to do with what happened on the day. It was more just like we were talking about before. I had nothing to train for. I had nothing coming up. So, I didn't start running properly until probably early this year again. Maybe March, April-ish of this year.
It's like 6 months off, a bit longer.
And so when you had sort of the dust had settled, had you thought, right, I'm going to do that again next year, or had you sort of just gone, I just don't want to know about that?
The tism in me always had that thought of, I need to do that. I need to do that still one day. But I didn't put a time frame on it. One of the hard things post obviously failing was leading up. Everyone knew in my life that I was attempting to run 100K. And then when you don't do that, obviously people are like, geez, you ran 50, that's amazing. But in the back of your mind, you're like, but should have been 100.
To be fair,
I failed.
I don't reckon anyone else is actually thinking that.
No. But it's hard to
definitely
compartmentalise that.
Yeah. But that's part of the drive for you though. Like that's not a That's not a bad thing.
Get it? You've set a goal.
Yeah.
You haven't met that goal, and so you're always going to be disappointed with
I also love that you did tell people you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because then now you've got to do it. Like at least you've got to attempt it. You know, like and when you're running, like it makes it harder for you to quit, obviously, because you're like everybody's counting on me to do it, even though realistically no one really cares.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah, they're like they're not sitting up. Like I guarantee you, most would have been asleep when you finished. You know, like or they would have been out on the piss, not thinking what's Nick up to. But it's you know, like when people are saying, "Hey mate, I'm looking at doing this," I'm like, "Good, do it, get around it." Like you put it out in the world, now you have to actually do it.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be surprised at how many people actually care. Like, yes, they might not be going down there and cheering you on the whole way, but you'll be surprised at how many people will actually take note and sort of want you to get through this. You'll be really surprised by it.
And, you know, people did come. Like I had one particular, a couple of friends that did come. Like I was running up out of Torquay into Bells, and lo and behold, up at the top of this hill was a couple of mates and their young son, and it just gave me a boost. Like, they live out here, and they came all the way, drove an hour out to Bells for me, literally just to run past and go, "Oh, hey, how are you?" and just keep going.
We've I've got at least 3 people coming. I'm going to fill the fridge. So the longer it takes you to do this, the worse it's going to get.
So yes, to answer your question, I did want to do it again, and I had planned. Obviously, in Australia, winter is trail running season, because if you tried to do something in the heat of summer like that, it'd just be awful. So I took a long break, and my plan for this year was always to do the Surfcoast Trail Marathon again, and then do the Yuyangs 50 into the Surfcoast Century, which, you know, I was trying to treat as a bit of a season. As the dates came along, the Surfcoast Trail Marathon fell on the day of my son's birthday. So I picked the wise move and didn't do that, because I couldn't imagine what would have happened had I have. Hey, babe, I'm just going to go run a marathon in Anglesea on our son's second birthday.
He's 2, he wouldn't have remembered it. The problem is she would have.
Yeah. So come, I think it would have been April this year.
So did you go into the start of this year though, and you just said that you were planning on having a season. So you'd made up your mind early this year, was it, that you were going to run this year, do Surfcoast Century this year?
I hadn't made up my mind, but it was there.
It was in the back of the mind. Okay.
The way my brain works, if it's there, it's going to happen.
Okay.
Because that's.
So when did you really start training for that then?
So post Surfcoast, I had a pretty big break of running. I started lifting some weights again, just doing just compound exercise, lifting weights, and then it would have been probably, I reckon, April, May. I sort of started incorporating lifting and running. So I'd probably lift 3 days a week, do a couple of runs, just short, 5, 6K. And then I reckon come May, I sort of put the weights away, and then I started increasing the volume of running from there.
Okay, so from May, you've obviously, like, that's when it's been, I'm going to go and do Surfcoast, or you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you sign up at that stage?
No, I hadn't signed up. So I hadn't signed up to any at that stage.
Okay. But it was in the back of your mind?
Yep.
So I'm looking, I know you're looking at me like I'm being rude. I'm actually looking up some stats and stuff here at the moment from you.
So that was, obviously May was when I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do these runs this year. Let's start doing some running, and let's start taking it a little bit more seriously.
Okay. You've missed the Surfcoast Trail Marathon, and you've signed up for the Yuyangs 50K.
Yep. Signed up for the Yuyangs 50K.
Okay. So we live not pretty close to the Yuyangs, so Chris now knows some of the course that you've done. Pretty brutal track.
Well, I know that now.
Yeah.
So to anyone listening, you're probably gathering that I probably don't prepare the best. So I think it would have been maybe 4 or 6 weeks before the Yuyangs 50 that I'd signed up for. I sent Fitzy a message and said, "Hey mate, this is the course of the 50. Can you take me out to Yuyangs and we'll do the course?" And I think the message I got back was, "Yeah, it's a really tough one." And I thought, "Oh shit."
Mate, just to throw a little bit of context here, Fitzy, he was like, on a Monday, he was like, "I'm going to do the Grampians 50 on the weekend." I was like, what have you been doing? He goes, I've just been running 5K. It'll be hard, but we'll see what happens. So, like, it's all good and well for him to say, prep for stuff, but Fitzy's quite happy to just sign up for a 50K on a weekend.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Thank you. So at this stage, I'd signed up to the 50K out of the UEs, and I thought the plan was, I'm going to treat this as a training run for Surfcoast, get the time on my feet up, and just see how I go doing. I've done 50 before. I can do it again.
But your training hadn't.
I love that.
Stage, you hadn't been really doing
that was so
consistent training, or
what do you reckon? Do you reckon I've been training properly?
No.
No.
In fact, I know the answer because, because a few days after I went for a run with you.
Yeah. I'd sort of just started.
I love that Fitzy's going through his phone, just going, so when did you do that? Mm-hmm.
I actually don't have the stat. I've got at the moment, mine shows your stats from, I think it must be mid-July. And you've started training.
You're watching his Strava or something? Oh, what a stitch up. He's literally asking you questions and he knows the answers.
Not so much because I don't know the answer, but I know that
so
going into that you wanted to do a recce of the course.
Yeah.
And you were sort of thinking about starting some proper training then. But not really thinking about it.
Correct, yeah. So I think the run itself was the 14th of July, I reckon, 14th or 15th of July. For the UEs. Yeah, that would make sense. So it must have been probably 6 weeks before that when I'd reached out to you and said, this is what I'm doing. So I did a run at the UEs with you and thought, Jesus, this is really hard. I've never done any.
So what was that? We did a 21,
I think, we just did a half. And I'm not sure what that course is. Is it maybe 600 metres gain-ish? But I'd never run any sort of elevation like that before.
It's not actually a huge amount of elevation, I think, when you put it against some of the trail runs that are out there. But the elevation that you do is pretty brutal, isn't it? Like there's not really any point where you go, this is flat. You're either going up steps, down steps, and it could be over rocks. It's just it's tough to get a rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't think of anywhere on that loop where there's a flat section of just running cruise. It's always either gradually up, sharp up, or working yourself down.
Yep. All right, so you did that run, and how did you sort of at the end of that run? What were you thinking?
So lead up to that run wasn't great. Training was really good. I was sort of putting in consistent 50K weeks leading up. Week of run that was on the Sunday.
Sorry, I'll go back because I'm talking about the run that I did with you.
Oh,
so that was just a half. That was 6 weeks before that. Was it? Yep.
So I think post that, I think we did that in about 3 hours. I reckon it would have been, if memory serves me. So after that, I was feeling okay because we did it, but we did do a very cruisy run. Like I remember we saw some goats and you took me and showed me Bungill and we went up and had a cruise. So I didn't feel too bad after that. And I think
after that run though, did you change your training?
I did in the sense that I came out to the UEs a couple more times before the run.
I'll go back through here. I can see from your Strava.
I'm going to get fact checked here.
Virtually from that run, you have been, I would say, very consistent. So you've done, now your stats are telling me that you've done pretty close to 1,000 kilometres this year of running. Up until that point,
I'd hate to think what the number is.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but up until that point, I can tell you that you were probably around 100 Ks.
Yeah, right. So big increase.
Yeah, big increase.
Yep. And I think that's probably what spurred me for the Surfcoast. That's what I was treating as training for Surfcoast.
Yep. All right. So you went and that was mid-July. You went and did the 50K.
Yep.
How were you on the week leading up to that?
I can't tell you how sick I was. I got this rotten chest infection probably the Saturday prior. I was off work all week, coughing up green phlegm, like in bed, and I just thought this is the worst run-in that I could possibly have.
But you still went and did the run?
Yes, I did. Stupidly, maybe.
Meat-headed your way through. Stay hard.
Yeah, a little bit.
But now you've got 6 weeks of training that you've never really done before.
Yeah.
You've never really gone into a race where you've actually done specific training. Now you've got 6 weeks. where you've been pretty consistent. You've been doing trail running consistently out on the doing your normal loop around your gravel track, but you're also going and doing your trails, and so you're consistent sort of running. And yeah, you've meatheaded your way through that while you're sick. But was there a bit of a sense of accomplishment at the end of that one?
Oh, absolutely. Especially because when I started, the upstairs started creeping in, and I was finding every excuse not to go on.
Yep.
Like the race starts in the car park, and the start is straight up Flinders Peak.
Yep.
So I think I got about halfway up Flinders Peak, and mind you, like I'm still coughing up phlegm, like not good. And I thought, I can't do this today. Like I'm so crook. I cannot do this. Just go up. We'll go up to the top, see how we feel, come back down. And it was just like that all day, you know.
So you kept picking points along the way, did you, to work your way towards?
Yeah. And then it got to a stage where, you know, I thought I'll just do a loop. I'll do one loop. One loop will get me back to the start. And that's 29 Ks. That's still a pretty good training run. And again, finding every excuse not to go on. But when I got, 29 Ks into that run, which in my head I was like, no, I'm going to stop. I just gave myself, well, it's only one more loop. It's just one more loop. So I batted on and I did it. It was really hard. It was really awful. And when I finished, I was so happy that I was done. Like it was really, really difficult. It was a shocking day. It was wet. It was cold. It was windy. All sort of things I hadn't experienced properly on a run before. But yeah, I was really, really happy to get it done.
So just on that as well, that's the first time you've completed a race, an ultra race where that is the end goal. So I know that you'd signed up and you've done a 50K before, but there's a disappointment with that 50 because you haven't got to your end goal. This time you've gone and you've done a 50. You've realised that, holy crap, this is not just a 50. This is a bloody hard 50. And then you've got to the end. I've been sick. There's a lot of positives to take away from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was good because I treated that as it was like a bit of a win, a good bit of prep. And yeah, I pushed through and I'm glad I did because it was, essentially my first ultra that I'd done. I set out to do 50. I did 50. And I was really happy with it.
Yeah, good. That's a button press.
That one?
That's my button.
All right. And then, all right, so since then, when did you start running again after you finished that one?
So I got straight back into it because, like I said, it was a training run for me. I think I was running. Sunday was, I think it was on a Sunday. The Monday was pretty rough on the legs. I've got a double story house and it was no good. And Tuesday, I think I went out for maybe just a 4 or 5K, very slow, just shake the legs out.
Yeah, you get one of those little chair things that like you sit on, they go up around the spiral staircase.
I'm just hearing the difference between the year before as well. So this year you've really got a goal in mind and like you've really put everything in, all your eggs in one basket, ready for Surfcoast this Saturday.
This weekend, yeah.
I just like that it's the same. Like you've done 50K and it's the same, but the last one, like you did it, but you were sick. You went in there and you're like, oh God, whatever. Like your mindset was already not great at the start, but you still went, yeah, I'm just going to do it. And you got through and you've done it. And now, the difference between, it's the same distance that you've done, but the difference is it was a completion, like you've done something.
Yep.
And it's funny seeing like that's one in the bank now. You're like, I completed something. Whereas the last one you did 50K, but because it was 100K, it didn't mean the same to you, even though they're the same distance. One's like, it's I actually completed it. And it's one thing we find on this podcast is with the whole imposter syndrome thing, it's like people are like, I did a 5K, then I did a 10K, now I did a 15K. Like people don't just go, I'm doing 100K like you did, because they're like, that's far too far ahead of where I was. Even though maybe, like realistically, you'd finished at 50 and like 30 minutes later, you're like, shit, I should have kept going. And had you have eaten some food or whatever it is, it might have been a different outcome. So realistically, you may have actually been able to do 100K at the time, but mentally you weren't ready for it, et cetera, et cetera. But because people aim so high sometimes, they're like, oh, I've actually aimed higher than I thought I could do, so I was never actually going to do it, so I don't really care if I don't. Whereas now you're like, you've had all the lead up where everything's a little bit closer, which makes it not that far out of your reach anymore. So now you've got a lot of stuff to fall back on. And that's been a thing we've found with people who have been doing stuff where you're like, how on earth did you achieve that? Well, you don't see the backstory. So like now you like, I love that you aimed stupid high at the start and still had a crack and did well. But now you're like, all right, I am going to achieve that goal, but that was probably a little bit overzealous of me at the start. And now you've done the lead up. And now like this Saturday when you do it, it'll mean more to you because you had that failure at the start. And because you put in the work now, when it gets hard or whatever else it is, you're like, yeah, it's hard, but it was hard when I was sick. Yeah. And you're like, and it was hard when I did that other stupid run that I didn't realize, and it was up and down hills. And it was hard last time when I got to this stage and whatever, and I gave myself an out. You know, like all the experience that you have in the lead up will now be something that you can carry over into the 100. And then once you've done your 100, and then Fitzy's like, well, let's go and sign up for some other stupid run that's further than 100 because 100 is boring now because you've done it or whatever else it is. Well, I mean, there'll be some Western qualifier he's already spoken about. So you'll look at Fitzy's face. He's like, yeah, there's other races, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Other races, yeah.
I think another thing that excites me about is, yes, like I believe I've probably done the work to get myself to where I want to be come Saturday. But for a distance, it's like that long, 100 kilometres.
Well, there's so much can go wrong.
Oh, 100%. And nothing.
Mate, 3 steps in, roll your ankle, bang.
Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed.
Yep.
You know, I plan to sort of be out there for 15, 16 hours on Saturday. Yep. That's a long time for things to go wrong. So I'm comfortable with where I am in terms of the running I've been doing, and you know, the difference this year. You know, I've been practicing my nutrition on my long runs, which is something that would have been just the most foreign thing ever last year. So I'm pretty confident that side of everything should be okay. Mentally, I should still be there. But, yeah, who knows? It could be 15K, like you say. I could roll my ankle over a branch and game over. So that's what I like about ultra running is nothing's guaranteed. Things can go wrong in the day, which I think probably makes it sweeter. Like that 50, I was so sick, had a bit of adversity, wanting to quit, but finishing it.
I also love, though, like – I know that we call it a failure for the first one, but I think a bigger failure would have been if you hadn't signed up in the first place. Like I know it was underdone and all these other things, but you don't know that until you have a crack at something. Like the amount of stuff you learn having a go at something where you think, oh, that's way out of reach. When realistically, these people that are doing stuff like that aren't really that different from you. Like they're built the same. They're doing whatever else. They've just been doing stuff longer. Yep. You know, like you can see now that you're, like how much closer you are just a year later, and you had 6 months off. You know, like so. Anybody else who's like, oh, I could never do that. It's like, well, you can. You just need to do the work in the meantime. But I love that when people are like, nah, I'm going in the deep end, see if I can sink or swim. And then when you sink, you're like, cool, I'm going to have a crack next time because I know what to expect now.
Yep.
Like you learn more about what you don't know by having a crack than you do by just going, oh, whatever. Like you can watch YouTube and they'll give you training tips and they'll do whatever else it is. But until you've done it, you don't know what your flaws are. Like you can see what other people's pitfalls were, but you're not going to see what other ones are. So like, I don't want to discourage people from doing dumb stuff like going, yeah, fuck it, I'll do 100K because I'm all about that.
Oh, dumb stuff.
like I'm not doing it, but just to put that out there so everyone's aware. It's like, but like other people, if you've run a fair distance, like have a crack and then see what happens. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. Then, but you might love it and then want to have it go at it next time.
You can always stop.
Nah, don't put that in people's heads.
Don't do that.
That's what happened to you last time. Don't say
like
that. So moving on from that, as support crew, like what I mean, like I'm not doing the run, but as support crew, what can people do for you blokes?
I don't know because
you were saying, for example, those guys were on the side of the road and they're like, "Hey, go, man," and like that meant a lot to you.
Yeah,
like for them, they're just like, "Does he care?"
Well, I think the lowest points I had during Surfcoast last year when I was really battling, there's a few points I can remember that because you're on your own for so long. And I had no music, so I was just essentially on my own for I think it was 7.5, almost 8 hours last time. It's a long time just running on your own, no noise.
Yep.
There's a couple of points, when I said before, is I came up top of here and saw some friends. That sort of gave me a boost for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I believe Fitzy was watching me on the live tracker, and I'd just come up a really tough section out of Point Addis. And the message was it was something similar like...
You just sent him a text during?
Yeah, I got a text, and it was just something like...
that part's shit.
And it was like, that tough section's done. You've got an aid station in about 8Ks. Just enjoy it out there. And I read that, and it gave me a boost. It probably got me the next 10K.
Yeah.
And then I think
Where were you at 50, Fitzy? He's like, why'd you not stop moving?
I did send.
Oh, really?
yeah. So, and that's
He didn't reply. I tried to get him out of the aid station.
Probably-
I knew it was going through his head.
Yeah.
and even upon like speaking with Fitzy after, and he made it like your partner isn't who you want at the aid station because, like you said before, they're too caring.
Not necessarily. Have you met my partner?
I haven't.
Yeah,
but
she will get
from all
you.
reports,
She will get you.
savage.
She will get you out of the aid station.
Fitzy will run away from the aid station. He'll skip it. Mate, I've been there.
I've had him where she's like, you've spent too long in here. Get out.
Yeah, and that's
I've been there where we built a deck together, and I didn't want to go back. I got too scared that I was screwing the things in wrong or whatever.
like time again. If I was at that Anglesea aid station at Surfcoast last year, and it was Fitzy, not Ash, I have full confidence. I may still not have finished.
You would have got 55K.
But yeah, I might have been out the back of Moggs Creek somewhere and gone, I can't do this anymore. But I think it's.
I think it's important for people that are listening. Like, it's not. You can't just sign up to these things and expect that you're just going to finish them. It doesn't work like that.
I did. But
You can do that, but you've got to understand that it's hard. There's a reason why people don't finish because it's not just I'm going to go and start this, finish it. It doesn't work like that. Some people will, but a lot of people will find out that this is really hard.
Yeah, but I think that's good to find that out.
Yeah,
because like if you're
I
like,
agree. I'm all
I can
about
do it. Yeah, I love that you found out that you were like, 50K and I tapped out. Yeah, like because it'll either make people go, I'm going to stop talking shit because I'm not that good, or they'll be like, I gave up. I was actually that good and I just gave up.
It will make the sense of achievement that much more too.
The second
that much
time,
sweeter.
Oh, you're going to cry like a little baby next
that.
time. It's going to be great. I'm going to get a reel of it. It's going to put it online and stuff.
I can tell you right now, the first time that I accomplished something that I wasn't expecting, mine was for a marathon, and I will never ever forget the first time I crossed the finish line for a marathon. I didn't get the goal as far as the time that I thought that I could run, but I'd done the training, crossed the finish line, and was like, oh my God, like didn't quite cry, but got pretty close. And that was a huge thing. And like, yeah, I'm really keen to be at the end with Nick for the end of this to see what that emotion will be like.
I'm looking at this funny because I'm like, I can smell Fitzy because he's got deep heat all over him, which is unheard of. Like Fitzy never does recovery or gives a shit as far as I'm aware. Like I've never seen him do it anymore. But or you're running it, so I've got a stitch, but I'll run it out. Or I'll do this, don't worry about it, we'll keep going. And so it's funny because like Fitzy's got to run 100Ks as well. And I just wonder if they get like 10K in, Fitzy gets a stitch, his ankle's hurting, and you're like, you'll be right, mate. Come on.
Good. And that could be.
This is what's funny about it.
That could be a thing that keeps you going. Because so for anyone listening, I'm actually having some slight dramas at the moment this week, which is really kind of annoying me. But
he's been making a lot of excuses.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing, that if I do start being a bit soft, that Nick can not focus on him and focus on me being crazy.
It'd be hilarious if we're at an aid station when you come in, like, Fitzy's really struggling.
He's not a good man.
Get around him. You need to tell him he's doing all right and whatever.
Because we've had a brief discussion is where my upstairs took over last time.
I was actually going upstairs, funnily enough.
Probably. But in the Anglehook State Park.
Yeah.
I've actually gone back there. I've probably done most of my trail training runs out there. I've probably been out there maybe 7 or 8 times and run a section of the course. And funnily enough, Fitzy hates that part.
Yeah.
So I hate that part. And I was like, oh, no, I enjoyed it. It's good fun. So I probably anticipate there's sections where we're probably G'ing each other on.
I like that you've gone back to the part that broke you last time.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point. I love that. That's good.
Yeah. And I think actually a bit of a going back, I reckon I'm the local legend out there. I reckon I've got a couple out there.
Get around him.
So back to support stuff. Like what can we do? We just like high five you when you go past. We can throw shade, like
bum grab.
It doesn't matter if you guys
pats
go
on the
out
bum,
there.
real footy.
If anyone goes out there, that's a huge boost, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, we are going out there.
What I was getting to before is anything that's not running.
Yeah, just something that's distracting.
Just seeing a friendly face, like, there's Burso, how good.
Yeah.
I mean, we do love a mankini.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll talk to the boys. The boys coming, I'll be keen to get outfits on. Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of other runners would love a mankini as well.
And being that it's going to be a few hours in, I'm probably going to have some deck chairs and some booze. So there's a good chance your crew will be pretty excited when you rock. We're if I get the mics though, are other people going to be excited if we speak to them as well?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
We might just interview everybody that comes past.
There'd be some people I think that would be.
Yeah.
I think they'll tell you pretty quickly if they're not.
Yeah, mate, not about this life. like that's why he's wearing a balaclava, because he's trying to hide who he is. I'm like, fair call.
Yeah. Last time, something as simple as a text message, probably gave me a bit of a spurt. So anything, friendly face, a text message.
Do you ever watch on or something, or do you just like get your phone out and you're like, yep.
No, I think I've got my phone in my pack, so here it buzz.
Oh, because you run with stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
In a trail run, yeah.
There's a huge list of mandatory gear you've got to carry with you.
Yeah.
First aid kits and wet weather gear and thermals, if it all
really
goes pear shaped. Yeah, it's huge list of mandatory gear.
Fair cool.
So yeah, like I said, something as simple as a text message for me last time was enough to be like, I'm good.
What about phone calls? Do you take phone calls? Or?
Sure, why not? Well, and that's, I've got a young son. He's only 2 and my partner's pregnant at the moment. So I'm sure there'll be a time where I'll probably FaceTime for a section and have a chat to the young bloke, and I'm sure that'll give me a bit of a spur on.
That's what I always found funny, like when you look at those distances, and I'm like, are they just running that whole thing?
Oh, no,
that's nuts. But
talking shit.
Yeah. Well, then I was like, Fitzy's like running through the Europe, and he's like, I was taking photos and doing whatever. I'm like, hang on a minute, you want to race? Like, nope.
And that's
at 160k, nope.
And that's what's so good about what I've fallen in love with about it is it's not, yes, it's called trail running, but you come to a section where you look up a hill and you go, oh, fuck that, I'm not running that, I'm walking. Yeah. So you walk up the hill and you might walk for another half a K to get your breath, and then
it's funny how a hill can change in definition, isn't it? When you're a long way into a run.
Yeah. Anything that's not downhill is a hill.
Yeah. Something that normally you'd run every day of the week. It's slight gradient.
It's a 1.2%.
You look at it,
gradient.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah.
Mate, I run down to our roundabout back, and I haven't done that in a while. But I know there's an incline there. It's like if you were on the car, you would not see that as an incline. But I can guarantee you, I know there's an incline. We're going to be coming up to an hour and 20 now. There's a fair long one, but I mean, we are talking long stuff, so it makes sense. So the plan is there's 2 of us. There's 2 other people coming with me as well at the moment. We'll try and get that bigger, but ideally I'm going to take a mic out there and have a yarn with you, and then we'll have you back on again, and then we'll play you talking at the time.
God.
And then regardless of however it finishes, but I just want to get your mindset. Like if I can get to more of those stops, that'll be so. Each time you have another stop, maybe have something cool to say.
Oh, I'll try my best.
I'm sure you'll think about it
while I'm concentrating.
Yeah, and you can't just say stay hard every time. I'll give you one of them. That'll be one you can do.
Stay hard.
Yeah, but after that you'll have to be like keep hammering or whatever else it is you want to go with.
I'm sure he's got a book I can read that's got some quotes in it.
Yeah. You can't hurt me. What else is there? Fitzy hates it. I love it. He's so anti it. But yeah, man. So we'll do that, and then we'll have you back on again, and then I'll probably get some videos of you as well. That way people can see you crying and stuff. That'll be great. And
see that I'm not built like a runner.
Yeah. You're like, what is he doing?
How the fuck did he do that?
Yeah. And then, so we'll have you back on again afterwards if you're happy with that. And then it can be awkward if Fitzy doesn't finish.
Nah, we'll be right. And if we don't, there'll be a good reason, I'm sure.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it is a long way.
Like I said, nothing's guaranteed on the day. So.
Mate, my car's 1997, so there's a good chance I won't make it to each different age point. But the one wheel will make it. And all right, boys. We'll all the best, and we'll catch up with you blokes soon.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Yep. Thanks, boys.
Just do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Just do it. Simple.